Welcome to Sunny Days. It's our second episode. It's pretty huge. I'm Colton Bell.
I'm Courtney.
And
we think we forgot to say that last time.
I'm almost certain. You asked me and then I was thinking, I was like, yeah.
I don't know if we said our names.
Yeah. You know where we live. You know our kids' names, but you don't know our names. So yeah.
Oh, well, we're learning. It's okay.
Yeah. Well, we're excited about today's episode. We're going to get into the elephant in the room.
Which is?
Young love. It's not what you might think I was going to say, but yeah, young love.
We'll save that for later.
How we met.
Marriage.
Yeah, having kids young. We're going to talk. We're going to hit it all. We're going to solve all marital problems in 40 minutes.
No. Yeah. Probably not.
I think we will. I'm honestly.
That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah. The more I think about it,
I'm already sweaty.
You stay sweaty. You must have some really good deodorant.
It's just my palms. That's what sweats.
We do share deodorant.
Yeah.
That's an icebreaker right there. Do you share the deodorant with your wife? We wear the same.
Mm-hmm. It's okay.
Speaking of
your
icebreaker.
Your underarms are sensitive.
They are. They'll peel. It's just bad. It's like a snake.
Mm-hmm.
Well, break the ice for us. Let's do it.
Okay, we're going to jump into Would You Rather.
Would you rather?
Good job, babe.
That was pretty good.
Wow, I'm so proud of you.
I'm happy.
Good work. Okay.
All right, let's go.
I don't think you've read these. I don't know if you saw them in the notes.
No, I didn't.
Okay. I think they're pretty good. All right. The first one. Right. Would you rather talk like Yoda or breathe like Darth Vader?
Strong you are. That's pretty good. Strong you. That's tough though.
It's Darth Vader, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. I'm gonna have to do with the Yoda. I don't think people would be my friend if I breathe like Darth Vader.
Yeah.
I think that might be like a deal breaker friendship.
I agree. Mm-hmm.
You know,
because I feel that's why I'm like moving my head a little.
Right.
I don't want to heavy breathe into the mic. I am a mouth breather, I think. I got a crooked nostril. Okay. I'm doing my best over here. But I agree with you. I would want to talk like Yoda.
We need to get you one of those things.
I want some magnetic. Little nostril openers.
Seems a little extra to me, but
I feel great. And with the eye mask and my 70 pillows and my heated blanket, cozy.
Mouth breather you are.
Yeah.
I would go that route for sure.
Number 2. Okay, second one. Would you rather have a foot-long nose or a foot-long tongue? They both suck.
Foot-long nose or foot-long tongue? I'm thinking I'm going tongue because I could not put it out of my mouth. I suppose I'm hoping that
you could just roll it up. Yeah.
You know, if it was going to be a situation where I'm going to go probably nose, but tongue is where I'm at. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm hoping you could roll it up, but I'm thinking even if it just flopped out.
Yeah.
I just don't think I would want.
Right.
I've got enough nose
I'd
problems.
have a heck of a job like at a circus, though. I mean, I think I could do well with the tongue. You know, the tongue would be easily promoted. Like, hey, this guy, your sister's got a long tongue.
She does.
Like, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, she probably would not appreciate you saying
I'm
that.
sorry. Morgan's got like a 5-inch tongue. This thing is like, what?
We'll add a picture. JK, guys. We're not going to do that.
Let's see if we can put a picture right here. She probably won't let us, but maybe. We'll get permission. Yeah, that's what you do in podcasts, right? Everybody's got to get paid.
Yeah, that's right.
Tell her we'll pay her.
Okay. She'll go for it then.
Oh, well, heck. That was a great episode of Would You Rather.
Yeah, good segment. Good job.
Well, let's jump into it.
Okay, so I have a few notes written down.
Okay.
First of all, figured we'd go over how we met.
Ooh,
a first memory of meeting.
Okay.
Should you tell a brief explanation of your side, and then I'll say my side?
We can do that.
How we both remember it.
I mean,
because I think I have the memory of first seeing you.
Right.
But I don't know if we formally met.
I think it's for me, and it's probably a bad quality of mine. Sometimes first meeting people is a little fuzzy for me until I've made a connection.
Right. Like a formal. Yeah.
Right. But I do have my first memory of seeing you was first of all, we met at church. Mm-hmm. We went to the same church as kids. I mean, for a long time.
Teens, yeah.
Yeah, teens, sorry. Yeah. And I remember seeing you in Sunday school class. That was the first time I personally, for those who don't know, Sunday school class, you go to class before a million church. You know, when I really think about that, there's a lot of church. Sorry, that's a little off topic.
Like how we did it? Yeah.
Yeah, so we went to Sunday school and then we would have a service.
Oh, yeah, it was. Yeah. Was it like that?
I think so. Was it? That shows.
Sunday school and then... Yeah, because wasn't as like, we're going to have Sunday school during music and then you go to big church?
Or it was vice versa. We would have music and then go to Sunday school. That's what it was.
Okay, yeah. So music and then Sunday school.
That was always fun because we was like your age group. You know, you could be bad. Mm-hmm. Usually the teacher was very
I wasn't bad.
I mean, I just was reckless.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I remember seeing you. I remember like you were, the shape of the room was like, it was obviously a square rectangle, but the way the chairs were was kind of like a U.
It's coming back to me.
Mm-hmm. And you were like hiding in the corner at the by the door. And then I was kind of like in the middle, you know.
Right by the door I was.
Yeah, right.
Oh, like sounds like Yoda.
Yeah. Right by the door you were.
Quick escape.
Yeah.
That's me.
Yep. You had your hair crinked.
Oh,
crinkled,
crimped.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh my gosh,
I remember.
That is so cute. You remember that?
I was like, man, I do. This is true. This is not. I remember going, man, she's pretty.
Oh,
but you know, you left fast. You did not speak during class. We did not connect at all.
Yeah,
I just saw you.
Yeah,
made note of it, and I kind of assumed you would be back. You know.
Yeah, because I was not. I was coming every other weekend.
Right.
To see my dad. Yep. Yeah. So I wasn't an every Sunday or
and I didn't
goer.
I don't recall seeing you like, you know, after that. But that was the first time I remember seeing you.
Yeah.
What about you? When did you remember seeing me?
Well, I remember us being in Sunday school together. Mm-hmm. I have like just a very like vague memory of seeing you. And it was probably the same day. But I think my like initial like memory is like seeing you like out in the foyer.
Yeah.
And then, and then my best friend and my stepmom being like, there he is, you know, because they had been telling me about you. And I was like, ugh, I hated guys.
Yeah. You hated everybody.
I hated all males.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then I feel like our formal, like, meeting each other would be when we had the banquet.
Yes.
Right?
I think so. Yeah, for sure. I think that was my second.
Because you kind of had like a little crush or something or a girlfriend.
Yeah.
And so.
Did I?
I think so. Or maybe she was just like
I went with my cousin.
Friendly friend?
With Lakin.
I don't know.
Yeah. To the banquet, me and Lakin.
No. I'm talking about like just like before that. So we saw each other for several weeks, but it was.
In passing, kind of. It felt like.
I wasn't into the whole, we're not going to have a crush on the same person. So.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So I just kind of let you be and I.
You left me alone.
Yeah. And then I think December, right? Is that when the banquet was? I think it was in December. I really felt like it was.
It was Valentine's Day.
Was it? Okay.
It was a Valentine's
Was
Day.
it?
I think so.
I thought it was.
Maybe it was a Christmas banquet.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay. Yeah. You know, when you grow up Pentecostal, it's all banquets. It's like a banquet. You know?
But yeah, we had the banquet and I saw you come in. I just like went with a friend and then I saw you come in and I was like, ugh. And then Colton comes off. He's not conceited, but he's very confident. But when you're young, sometimes it's hard to tell the difference. So I was like, ugh. He likes himself, you know, he thinks he's so cute. But he was cute. He was adorable. But yeah, I remember him coming in and sitting down across from me and I was like, this dude's going to talk to me. Cause you know, like I told you guys before, he's very chatty. And I was like, he's going to just talk to me. Where's the door? I'm looking for the door.
And we sat by each other, didn't we?
I think,
across.
Yeah, you sat across from me. And then you do remember what happened next?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Tell it.
My perspective is completely different from yours.
Okay, what?
Well, first of all, my whole family goes to this church.
Mm-hmm.
So the confidence or the cockiness is what she's trying to say. It's just because I knew everybody, known them my whole life. You know, it's like going to a family reunion, basically. But we sat across from each other.
Mm-hmm.
Ish. Yeah, I mean, it was pretty much. And Matt Rogers and Courtney, and then me and my cousin Lakin.
Mm-hmm.
And I was getting up to get some dessert. And I got Courtney a dessert. I
think you asked someone, what kind of dessert do I like? And you brought me back a dessert that I like. It was a cheesecake. You did great.
She was funny. Courtney's especially young. Not a lot of people know that. Well, there are a lot of people that know this Courtney, but not people in our lives today. Young Courtney was really snarky, and she
was I?
Yeah, like I don't know if you were trying to be funny or were you trying to be mean or maybe a little bit of both.
Mm-hmm.
But like, you know, you were funny. We were kind of hitting it. You know, I liked that kind of humor, and so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get her something. You were there with Matt. I
love that you liked it because I was probably low key trying to be mean to you, and thinking. You were like, she likes me. She's friends. So funny.
And I wasn't like, from my perspective, I wasn't hitting on you or anything.
And no, it wasn't a you thing. That was just I was very guarded, and that's just I was. But yeah, you brought me cheesecake, and then I was like, no, thank you.
You said no. Yeah,
I'm good.
I left there thinking, well, we're not friends. I thought we were friends, and then turned out I was wrong.
And then for me, it gets a little fuzzy.
Not for me.
Like between that, and then I guess like a few months later. I feel like it was months later we saw each other.
It was a good while later, I think. I think it was, so my cousin and I, Jordan, we worked or were applying for jobs over at
the mall.
The South Haven. I don't know what that mall is actually called, but it's an outdoor outlet mall that's not like really in existence anymore much. But over there at the mall, there was a PacSun. We were like, oh,
it was popping.
We're going to work at PacSun and we're going to make all this money, you know? Yeah. So we did do that. And I want to say it was the same day we went into the Family Christian Bookstore, which was popping back in the day. That thing was cool. It was huge.
Well, so this is where my memory comes in.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think I remember you guys coming out of PacSun.
Yeah.
And then I was with my best friend and my stepmom, and they were like, oh my God, let's go to the journey. Jordan is Colton's cousin. And I was like, let's go back home.
Yeah.
This dude brought me cheesecake. Yeah, where's the door?
Such a bad person.
Looking for the door again. And then I was like, okay, we're going to try to avoid these guys. And I think they purposely, like, I think Danette and Jenna knew what they were doing. They were guiding me to you. I feel like they were, like, now that I think back to it, I think they knew we were going to run into you guys.
Yeah. That
had to have been planned. But yeah.
I was like, when I saw you, I was like.
Yes, that's exactly what you did. And then you immediately did what?
Well, I was trying to make, Courtney, again, being a bit guarded is not like, hey, like Danette and Jenna were like, hey, we're hugging, how are y'all? We all go to church together. I mean, we stay at church, like, so we're not just in passing, knowing each other.
But again, I am a every other weekender.
Right. But you were like this, kind of like, and I was like, oh, what's that? I tried to make a joke, and it was probably not the best.
He said, no. He's like, hey, how are you guys? And then he looks at my feet and goes, man, you've got fat toes.
That.
And I was like, oh, and I just thought about it. I don't have.
Wasn't my best.
I don't have shoes or socks on, so nobody look.
Yeah. Hey, look, anybody out there into fat toes? I'm not working right now, so we can get you some photos.
And I was like, never had thought about my toes ever until that moment. And I was like,
yeah.
What?
I thought it was an icebreaker, and it wasn't. Yeah. I thought you would be like, ha, and I'd be like, yeah, I'm just kidding. But you were like,
that's rude.
No, that's exactly what it was like. I was like, dang, I'm not doing too well here. Because this was, I would say for me, when I was like she's really pretty.
That is so sweet.
I was like, I'm gonna get in here. I'm gonna get in here and I'm gonna lock this up.
That is so sweet.
And you were not having me.
Yeah. Well, that is so sweet now. I could cry.
Yeah, don't cry.
That is so adorable. I just love you so much. I love you. I think it's like even sweeter to me now though, because we have 2 boys.
Right.
And like Reese is 15.
Yeah. That's really close.
Our first meeting, I believe I was 15.
Yeah.
And so for me to think back to that, it's just like, like,
I guess I would have been closer to like 16, 17.
Yeah. Like, you were probably turning 17 when we met. Yeah.
And, then, you're like, I do remember us walking around a bit.
And then we walked into the Christian bookstore and
you were like, I heard you sing.
I knew
like,
you.
Not nice.
Yeah. I was like, prove it.
I was like, we're in the
prove
store.
Yourself.
I'm not going to sing, but I played it. I was like, nah, you're not ready.
And then I was like, and then I think I kind of started to get your humor a little bit. And I was like, okay, I think he's being funny.
Yeah.
Maybe I was too hard.
Yeah. You were a little more playful then. And honest to God, I can't remember how, from how we got each other's number. And well, we didn't have numbers. See, Courtney didn't have a cell phone. All you young people out there, you didn't always have cell phones. So we connected on like a social media platform, which.
And then I think like eventually, like, we just saw each other at church more. And then we were like hanging a little bit, talking, and then
all that good stuff.
Yeah. A couple phone calls on other people's phones.
Yeah. So, that's how we met. And the rest is not the rest is history. Then we, I guess, started dating, seriously sometime after that. We would hang out, just like everybody else, I suppose, but all the time. But, our situation was a bit probably different, probably more of a different episode, but, we
long story, very short.
We were both like, my living situation wasn't like, the most ideal living situation, for just probably anybody growing up. And then with hers was super tricky with her parents and, there were divorces and things like that going on. And so we spent a lot of time together, not because we didn't have, we didn't have anywhere else to go but we spent a lot of time together because it's like, we loved each other. And, what I'm saying? I'm saying we loved each other. We were still figuring that out, right?
Yeah,
we'd always say, I like you. We wouldn't say I love you.
Yeah, we waited to say I love you. I think, really thinking back to it, I mean, we were young and obviously immature and we've grown, but really we were good kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we really were like, you said, I'm not going to say I love you unless I know that I want to marry you.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll never say I love you.
Yeah.
That's
she
too
was
sacred.
Tough, man. She was tough.
But I fell for you.
Yeah. She was tough on me though. Like I was very, it's been like this for a long time. Not so much. I've grown, I'm older now and I've learned, but I'm very friendly, but I'm not like friendly, like being, inappropriate or anything like that. But if I was friendly with other girls, like not again, I'd be like,
you were, but you were a kid. So then, but I did what I had to do,
oh my God. She ate me alive, you into shape, bro. But like looking back, it was good. It was fun. And like I was saying though, our situations weren't like ideal. There wasn't like, hey, grow up, go to college and then y'all can go to college together or y'all can still date. And, it just wasn't.
Right.
So we just we were together daily.
Yeah. At that point, like, I had, it was like double divorces, like back to back.
Rough.
And then kind of in between places, didn't like kind of had a home, but there were some, which, things have worked out. We're all good now, but I don't, you were kind of in between places. Your mom was also living with people. So you were kind of hopping around and it was just, you went off to college and, at that point, the people who were in my life didn't really talk to me about college or options. And so, I didn't know anything about financial help, and I hated school anyways.
Right. Yeah. You wouldn't have liked it anyway.
Yeah. And yeah, so you moved away, and I was sad forever.
Yeah.
And struggling, man, to make it.
Yeah, you were surviving. Well, we both were kind of.
Thank the Lord you left your truck for me.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I left my truck here. I rode with friends. Man, those friends, hindsight, they probably think, I didn't have any money in college. This is a side note, 2 seconds. I didn't have any money. So, I was sent down, I think, with $600, if I remember correctly. And I ended up, my uncle bought some like family heirlooms through my grandfather from me for a couple $100. I wish you would have given this stuff back to me, by the way, Uncle Mike, just saying. But, I had a little bit of money, but not much. And then, I was on a meal plan, but it only covered X amount of meals. So like, I was like, ran out of money really quickly. So I'm like, can I like have a couple of ramen noodles, or I might even just take it,
Poor
looking
baby.
back, you might be stealing a little bit,
Yeah.
but not on purpose. There was a misunderstanding, but they're probably like, this guy, he needs to go back home. He can't afford to be here. But
we didn't know what the heck we were doing. We honestly
should have stayed home.
We didn't know. You didn't know.
No.
I don't think our parents really knew at the time.
No, and no knock on, I think this goes without saying, but like our parents, we have the relationships we do with them now, which have grown, but we will have honest conversations on here, throughout the episodes, and it's not a knock on anybody. It's just truth. And I think that to not be honest,
they just didn't know any better.
No.
Yeah. They just didn't know any better. We weren't prepped very good for that sort of thing. No. While you're stealing people's noodles.
Yeah.
I'm digging in the couch cushions for quarters just to put gas in your truck. Back in the day when you could use quarters to get gas. Can't do that no more. No.
Well, I remember looking, I was hungry one time. By the way, I was fed and Courtney was fed, but like there was no extra. So if we wanted, that is an interesting story. So for me, like if there was any extra, I had to have the money to do it, for the most part. I mean, my mom and dad would give me money every so often, but like, anyway, I was wanting a McDonald's hamburger. You could get them for $1. I don't think they're $1 anymore, but I had all but 10 cents.
I remember
or a penny. I needed a penny. That's what it was. And I said, God, if you'll give me a penny.
Poor baby.
I'll never let a penny sit on the ground ever again. And sure enough,
did he provide?
He provided. There was a penny there. Hallelujah. And I was like, boom, got me the sandwich. And for a long time, and even today, I still have a problem walking by if I see a penny on the ground.
Well, I remember the story because I can't remember what it was. Like, I think I dropped a penny or something, and you were like, I was like, oh, it's just a penny. And you were like, no.
Yeah. I was tore up about it for a while.
Take the penny. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yep. I was really serious about it for a little while. And it's still, like I said, it bothers me, but
but
we took care of each other. We and that's for me, and again, no knock on anybody. I don't want to come across, but our lives were really, we were kind of on our own ish, not completely. We still had adults and stuff like that. But, for a long time I would work and I would feed Courtney,
no, that's
dinner, or what.
Relationships were, weird then. And it's just
not feed her like, oh, let's go on a date. But like, we're talking like
I was like, I don't know. There's no food in the pantry.
Yeah. Like I said, she probably got something when her dad got home. I'm not saying, but like
maybe sometimes, yes,
sometimes not. So like,
sometimes he didn't come home. So
so a lot of people are like, oh man, you got married so young, and how did y'all do that? And it was great. Like I wouldn't trade any of it. I wouldn't trade any of our experiences, but I also probably wouldn't recommend our path.
Right. No.
Anybody. I wouldn't say go do what we did because, being married, we got married, I think you were 18, I was 19, 2009. And, I didn't make a lot of money. I didn't, you didn't, you got pregnant immediately. Like, hey, what caused that? It's almost like we didn't, all the jokes.
And but it was a weird time too. That's when it was really hard to find work still.
Yeah. It wasn't quite as.
Yeah. I mean, I remember like I applied for jobs everywhere and I could not get a job.
That is true.
And then it's almost like, you had to have the vehicle to go to work.
Well, there was 2008, right? I'm no historian, but like I know that the economy was in poo-poo like in 2008.
No, it was
and
very
in 9, we were, and so we picked the worst time to probably,
we didn't know.
We didn't know though. That's the, growing up, how we grew up spiritually, and that'd be another episode, but you were just kind of blinded by reality, reality of work, reality of responsibility a little bit. And maybe it was just us, but I also think you're, blinded by, hey, this is what you do. You get married and take care of each other. And, we just didn't know how to do that. Nobody guided us properly. And so,
but we got married young, right after I graduated.
Boom, married.
I graduated, turned 18, and then he said, "We're getting married." And I was like, okay, because that was a big thing for me. I was like, I don't want to be a cliche and get married right after I turn 18 and graduate. But I did. I trusted you. You were like, trust me. I want to be with you. Let's start life. And I was like, okay, let's do it. And
I tried to get you to go to college with me, and you were like, no.
Yeah.
I remember that conversation. But we just said, or for me, I was like, why are we not married? I mean, literally the only thing we didn't do was stay in the same house, together, especially when I got back from college.
You were like, I love you. I know I want to marry you. And I was like, okay, let's do this.
We didn't have this elaborate engagement or, our wedding. Shout out to everybody who helped. We were going to have a wedding.
I mean, there were people that probably I don't remember, know their names.
Yeah.
Donated things and helped set it up. And if they wouldn't have, in fact, I was like, let's just go to the courthouse. And Colton was like, no, we're going to have a wedding.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay.
And we did. It was fun. It was a great time, for what we could do. And she got, like I said, she got pregnant on the night of, and, sorry. And, nobody told, I mean, that goes back to it. Nobody really, for me, expressed like birth control and things of that nature.
Right.
I had no idea. Like, it's a funny joke. I knew what caused it. I always make jokes about what causes it and stuff, but we could have prevented it, way better. But
I'm glad we didn't.
Yeah. No, right now it works out great. But like, I think you'll gather this from our story is that, when we had kids, we had them young. Reese came, and then you had Reese, and then immediately had Elijah.
Yeah.
I mean,
and I think a lot of people, just to kind of like different, same track, but a little bit, I think people ask us, well, how did you know that, you say you love each other? How did you know that was the next step? But we had a lot of core values, when we might have thought a little bit differently, but that's what led us, it wasn't just a situation. Yeah. We were just like, we're on the same page. We know what we want.
Yeah.
And we love each other, and we're going to get married. Why are we waiting?
Yeah.
No. And that's just kind of how we did it. And again, we don't recommend it.
No.
But yeah, I got pregnant, immediately, and I did not know what the heck was happening to me.
I felt like an old man though. Like, and I still do. Like we were what, 19, 20-ish. You were like 18, 19, roughly when Reese was born. I felt like grown. Like, it didn't occur to me that we were having kids as kids,
Yeah.
I had no idea. I was just like, this, we got a family. We started a family,
I was just rolling with the punches. I was just like,
man, you were not a happy pregnant lady.
No, I wasn't. But I also was just like, it was, and that, like, we may have to go into depth.
Yeah.
Like on another episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just foreign to me. And I'm the oldest girl. I do have an older stepbrother, but I have 4 younger siblings. So, pregnancy and stuff like that wasn't foreign to me because I'd seen my mother and my stepmother.
Right.
But it was just the weirdest thing for me. So it took me a while to like be like, oh wow, like I'm actually having a baby.
It wasn't real to me for a long time.
Yeah, it was just like I even
when
remember,
you had the baby, I'm like, oh, well, here we go.
Yeah, and we just, man, I am proud of us though. We just kept rolling, and
it wasn't easy though. Like I don't want to paint this picture because like we didn't have any money. We went through so many. It'd be a long episode to talk about. All of it,
we were like
financially, just
cutting the toothpaste tube, and it wasn't because like, oh, we forgot to go to the store. It was like we can't go to the store.
We don't have any money.
No,
I don't know how we did it. Really, you look at like I remember, wiping my butt with rags and washing them. Like these are real. People are like, because I get people like, oh, you got the perfect situation, you and your perfect wife, and y'all got good jobs, and man, y'all have had it easy. And now we just did it much sooner than most people. And
I think, we were so in love, and so I think, like I said, we had a lot of the same core values, and
that was the most important.
And we were like, no, this is going to work. Like we're doing this. We made a decision, and we loved each other. So,
I think so. I think our only, if I had to say, just from a, marriage, family, for us, the only thing that we ever really struggled with, probably, say, argue or whatever, or disagreements, was probably because we didn't have any money, like financial. I mean, it was like, Courtney did. I deal with all the finances, or if I was stressed about that, or if, we spent too much somewhere, which
I basically just did whatever Colton told me to, but I also was, because, and like I told you this the other day, like you took such good care of me. And even when Reese was born, such good care of Reese, that I really didn't understand, like for a long time, how much we were struggling. Even like there were, like we were talking about the toothpaste and stuff like that. Like I knew those things, but for me, you really did do a good job of the essentials, like what we needed. Yeah. You paid the bills, and so I lived in La La Land for a long time, and I was just like, I don't understand.
That's the goal, though, right?
So you did a great job. Yeah. But and so because you did such a good job at providing and things like that, we just we were a team, and then immediately had Elijah, and that's what I did. I took care of the house. I did dinner. I made your lunches. I got up with the kids. I took care of them. Never had to worry about anything. All I had to do was tell you we need food and diapers and formula or milk or whatever we needed.
We did good at that. That was good.
Yeah, and it was fine. I know a lot of it was, I feel like for years, like a lot of it was a blur between me and you. Does that make sense?
No doubt.
Because you were out there grinding and digging ditches, and I'm out here changing diapers and chasing toddlers, and it was just like high five.
Yeah. My only regret was probably, like, if I had to say, just would probably be, I just worked so much, would be not making more time to, like, enjoy the kids at that age. I couldn't.
And I do remember you being at home, but you were just so tired. You were very tired. It was, you were doing physical, manual
I would sometimes
labor.
do side work. I'd go home and, or go after work and work. And then, I do regret not trying to make more time there, but it's easy to say now,
right.
With our
because
current situation being, much better. And, but that goes for me. I used to always say my saying, and so anybody who is a young family, I used to do, my goal was to have the end game that we could do things and be together and enjoy each other and go on vacations. And I would always say, hey, it won't always be like this. That was just something I always remember saying.
You did always say that.
Hey, it won't always be like this. It won't always be like this, And
you were very good at looking into the future and like setting goals and meeting those goals. And I'm very much like, I do like to have a plan. Like, so like social settings, like
Yeah.
I want to know what's happening, what's up, work, what's happening,
Yeah.
what's the plan. But like in life, I was just so used to what's next.
Yeah.
I'm rolling with the punches.
Yeah.
Like, you just tell me what to do and I'll do it.
But that worked out because I think that personality wise, if, you know, I think I needed to be the one to come up with those, you know, it just was good. We each had a role in our life, but it was difficult. Like, I want to paint that picture like, hey, look.
Yeah, it was hard.
Not only was it like financially difficult, but, you know, we got married at a very young age where we're still growing up as humans and people. And then, you know, as far as being young parents, you know, we're learning there, you know, we don't want to make the mistakes our parents made, you know, in certain aspects. And then, you know,
I mean, there were difficult years. There were times when we were like, are we going to make it?
Yeah.
Like,
no,
I mean, we
had
fought a lot, like for, you know, seasons of our life. And it was,
I think it was growth though. Like you were growing in a certain ways.
But again, it comes back to, we knew we loved each other.
That's right.
We agreed, we made the decision. We knew what our values were and what we wanted at the end of the day, the end of the month.
And that was stronger
next year.
than all the other things.
Right. And that was, and that does matter. And if I think that no matter where someone is in life, how young they are, which I mean, obviously you should be, you know, 18, but you know, you should, I think the core, you know, values and goals and knowing what you want your end goals to be, right? That will make all the difference. Yeah.
And I think, like, you know, I do want to speak on being young parents. I loved it.
Oh yeah.
I do say this, and I will say there's a number in my head. I think a person around mid to late 20s, closer to that 30 mark, really 27, is a great time to be a parent. I think that for me, mentally, spiritually, the growth would have been there. I think I'd have been a better father. I'm a better father today than I was then. Some of it's financial. Some of it is also just me being me. I'm 100% who I'm going to be, you know, and you are 100% who you're going to be. And I always say that, but for me now, thank God, we made good choices. That it's great for me because we didn't screw up our kids along the way. You know, we still think that we are aware of, but, you know, I think that we were good parents, but today we're that great parents, and now we're young, and we're, you know, Reese is 15, he'll be 16. You know, by the time he's in college, you know, we won't even be 40 yet.
Right.
And so there are some cool aspects there, but, you know, it's always been, you know, we walk in the room and people are like, you know, look at our kids and like, where are your parents? And, you know, it's like, because we already kind of look young too. Like, we also have that going our way. Like, yeah, we don't look, you know, 35, 34, 33, whatever. And
that's nice.
Yeah. And so then, especially when they were young, it's like, so are the parents coming to parent night, or are you going to step in? You know, it's just, that was,
I remember like having Reese and Elijah and people actually being like, oh, hey, your brother, something, or, oh, are you with your sister? And I'm like, and it used to offend me. And I was like, no, I'm his mother.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh my God. Courtney's so cutthroat, but y'all don't even know that.
We need to somehow attach a picture of me and Reese.
We'll do
on the chair.
We'll do it.
We'll because we showed our kids that picture of me and Reese, and he wasn't.
It's easy to do.
Yeah, and
matter of fact, we'll attach right here in this segment. Let's attach a picture of you and I when we have some of those when we were dating. Then we'll attach some when we got married, and then one of you and like us when we had the boys.
Yeah, because Elijah and Reese looked at that photo of me and Reese.
Yep.
And Elijah, our youngest, was like, who is that in the picture? Is that your brother? And I was like, no, that's your brother. And he's like, what? You look 12.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, and I want to say this. I want to, there's so much more we could get into. And I would love to know, you know, what people are interested. Because again, some of this for us is like, this is not even a quarter of the story here.
No.
You know, and
we'll have to divide like certain.
Yeah. But our story is much deeper than and we'll figure it out and how to get into it. But like, what might you be interested in hearing from us in our story?
Yeah, because we could break down parts of it
and get deep into it.
Yeah,
because it's so much deeper. But I do want to say this about marriage, and I'm no counselor, but I do feel I can speak on this, that marriage and being a father or a mother, and, you know, there's like a few points to it for me. And I have a lot of younger friends, without naming names, in private, they do ask me about it. And so I've had a lot of time to reflect on those things. And as far as, love and marriage, there's nothing pretty about the full picture. And you grow together, even if you get married later in life. There's a growth period there of like, learning who you are as a husband and learning who you are as a wife, and maybe who you're not as a husband and who you're not as a wife and who you're not as a person, maybe. And you have to reflect on those things, and you have to be willing to, even if you don't admit it to your spouse, you have to be able to take back and reflect and say, how can I be better for what they need? Because it's not always, for me especially, I struggle with the thing. I don't struggle with that. So I have a hard time relating, or it doesn't even occur to me that somebody might have anxiety in a certain situation, because I don't get anxiety in situations. I don't, and
So how would you say if you don't mind me like interrupting, how would you say you're different now versus then? Like what has changed most?
I would say that I'm just a bit more considerate with, that we're not the same. Even though it may not feel like it at times, we're not the same people. I didn't understand when we were young that you were struggling with, being trying to figure out who you were.
Not only had your body changed, everything changed. Yeah. And
I didn't understand that because I've always, I feel like from a young age, I figured out who I was, and I knew who I was, and I was confident in who I was, and I stuck with that. And I couldn't understand why you might say mean things to me. I know it sounds terrible, but like, we were young. So one of those things I wanted to say is, watch the way you talk to each other. Don't allow yourself to say things just to be mean, because again, our end goal was we loved each other, and we were never going to leave each other.
Right.
We never were. So when I say, shut up, you're stupid, right. That's just something mean and hurtful, and something that's not going to hold any weight, and it serves no purpose. And so, for you, I didn't understand that. And so like when, I had never dealt with like the talking mean, and you were great, I know that sounds terrible, but you were really good at it. And so like, I had to really internalize, like, but I had to also go, you know what? She's hurting and she's sad.
But that, when he says he had to go, that turn was years, like
long
in the making
growth,
and
but
some we're still working on.
If I had it, though, if I would have had a little more of a grasp, I wouldn't have let those things bother me so badly, or hurt my feelings, and I think that.
But we were just so young.
Right. But there's a lot of people that you can, you have to understand where your spouse is coming from and why they feel the way they do. And then, just think on it, pray on it, or however, whatever you do, meditate, and just try to be okay and let them hurt and things like that, and be there for them. But, as a father, though, I would say, when you have kids, I think the world needs to hear this. When you have a child, I don't care if you're 18 or if you're 45, your life and goals are on the back burner. You're a father now. When you choose to make those adult choices to have kids and to have a family, it looks cool on TV to have a family. But when you decide to marry a woman and be a husband, or especially from a man, this is a man's perspective. And when you decide to be a father, that's your job. And your job is to provide for them. Your job is to be there for them mentally and spiritually. You made an adult choice. And I think that people need to understand that you can't do what you wanted to do, maybe, possibly. You might be able to. You might be able to fit those things in.
Or it may look a lot different.
Look way different. And I'm not saying don't have a good time, or, I'm saying, but you have to understand that you're not 25 anymore. Or you might be, but you're not living that 25-year-old life or 18-year-old life. You're having to be, and that was for me, something, the core value for me was like, okay, I wanted to be XYZ, but now I got to be a father and a husband. And maybe one day those doors will open back up for me. But, that's something so those are, love your spouse, fall on love. When you decide to, become a father, that's what you got to do. Take care of your kids. Stop divorcing each other because you don't like each other sometimes. I don't like Courtney sometimes. Like there are days, and you know what I do? I keep my mouth shut, and sometimes, and then I'll go do something, or we'll give each other space, and we come back and we're like, I love you.
I mean, when we say space, I mean that what? I mean, there was a 6-month period. I don't think we liked each other at all.
Yeah, life is tough. And now more than ever, I realize I couldn't do the things I do without Courtney, and I think I could speak with her and for her and say that she feels the same way. Mm-hmm. And, just understand why you love each other and hold on to that. And, my mother-in-law she said it to me once, and I'll never forget it. When we found out we were pregnant with Elijah, and then we'll move on. But, she said, we just told her we was pregnant with Elijah. We had Reese. She was holding me. She said, baby, don't ever forget why you have these things and where this started and where it came from. And I said, well, what do you mean? She said, this all came from love. You love each other. And, we created Reese out of love. We created Elijah out of love. And we got married and stayed together that long out of love. And if, we hold on to those things.
It's only episode 2. Don't make me cry. But it's so sweet. Yeah. I love my mom. She's
I would like to,
mom.
Yeah. I think that she's an amazing woman. I'd love to have her on. Her story's crazy.
Yeah.
That would be cool for you two to get on here and chit chat. But yeah, let's, we'll move on. There's so much more, but let us know, what you think and where we can go deeper, and maybe we'll just make more of it. But
we'll have to chop it up. There's so much.
Love each other. Okay. Well, well, look, I'm still a Harry Potter fan, and we still got to do our questions. I'm sorry. I can't. I know we went a little longer than we were supposed to, but ultimately.
I love it. Okay.
All right.
One for you.
Let me hit our intro.
No.
This is me, by the way.
It's so cute.
I love it. I did that, by the way.
You go first.
Okay. What is the name of the house elf who warns Harry Potter against returning to Hogwarts? Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. What's the house elf's name? You're blanking.
Eugene.
No, you don't.
I don't know. Wait.
No, my God.
Wait, Dobby. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes. You don't
I thought you were talking about the mean elf.
That is her.
Read it again.
What is the name of the house elf who warns Harry Potter against returning to Hogwarts?
Oh, yeah, it was Dobby. I'm sorry. I don't know why. As soon as you said that, I thought it was going to be
underrated character in the movies and the largest.
I was thinking about.
In the books.
I did know that answer.
You're thinking of Creature.
That's who it was.
No,
you said it, and I was like,
he's the house elf for Sirius Black.
Myself. See,
for the Black family.
Yes. Okay.
Ooh, so the score is 1-1.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that
do I get? No, I don't get a point for that. I knew it though.
Okay, I did. I'm going to give you that. I'm going to give you the point, but you don't deserve it.
I said it before you said it. Okay, you'll know this one.
Okay.
What must one use to travel via the Flu network?
I just wanted to use that. I know the answer. Flu powder.
Good job.
Boom.
Okay. Another?
Yeah.
We're doing 2, right?
So it's 2-2.
2-2.
Even though you should get like a half point.
I know. I immediately doubted myself.
You should have. You said Eugene. Is that what you said, Eugene?
Because I thought we were talking about Creature, and I was like, what is that stupid elf's name?
Okay. Let's see. What is the term for a child? Oh, this is a good one.
Oh, no.
Of 1 or 2 wizard parents that has no magical ability. So what is the term for a child of 1 or 2 wizarding parents that has no magical ability?
Is it a mudblood?
I'm going to help you a little bit, okay?
No.
Because this question is worded funny.
No. Don't help
There's
me.
only one person in the books that is referred to as one of these. It is not Hermione Granger. And I'm not
I thought it was mudblood. You filthy mudblood.
This person has no magical ability.
Oh, he has no magical ability? But he has a magical parents?
Yes.
Oh, I tell you, I'm ADHD, I think.
This is a tough one. I mean, it's...
Oh, I know who it is.
Who?
It's the janitor dude.
Yeah. Yeah. What do they call it?
But I don't know.
It's a squib.
Squib. Okay.
Yeah, squib.
All right. After being destroyed by the Whomping Willow, Harry's Nimbus 2000 is replaced with what broom?
Ooh, the fire.
Just trust your gut.
I think it's the firebolt.
It is.
Okay. I want to
so
say, I was thinking Thunderbolt for some reason. I don't know, but I'll take a yes. Awesome. Yes.
Good job.
3-2, baby.
You did so good.
Let's go. Those were kind of hard though.
I'm just a dodo.
Squib was tough. I mean, it's not like something you hear all the time. So yeah, awesome.
I like you read it and I took it in backwards the opposite way. Well, we did it. Episode 2.
Episode 2 is in the books.
Episode 3 is going to be good. I think a lot of people are going to want to tune in for that. So
give it like a little shout out. We'll probably be talking about my cancer journey and, tune in. Hopefully.
Maybe. Or we'll just keep y'all on the hook.
Right. That's the only reason people are here anyway. I'm just kidding. Please like, subscribe. We don't know all the terms really yet, but follow us.
Do those things.
Yeah, all the things. We're going to be on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We'll obviously have TikToks and things like that go up. But, put the notifications on. Share our podcast if you can. Just listen to it. Sorry we went a bit long, but we love each other, so it was easy.
Love you.
All right. We hope that even when things are dark and gray, you know where to come and find a sunny day. Did I say always?
No. Okay, good. But you left off the S. Sunny days, guys.